In this week's Parashat Mishpatim, we read, "One who strikes his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. One who curses his father or his mother shall surely be put to death." So two psukim, one talking about striking and one talking about cursing the parents. And then in the middle of these two psukim, strangely, the Torah talks about one who kidnaps a man and sells him. What does kidnapping have to do with anything with this child cursing or striking his parents? Why is it inserted in the middle of these two psukim? So the commentators explain that at the core, at the center of why this child is rebellious and striking and cursing his parents is because he was robbed. He was robbed. What was he robbed of? He was robbed of his love and affection. He was robbed of his time that he needed while growing up. And his parents weren't able to give him that time, the love and affection. Children look towards their parents. They see their parents, they respect their parents, and they trust their parents. And when they don't get that time, they don't get that love and affection, they feel unworthy. And they feel unworthy for their parents, they feel unworthy for the world. And hence, their road to being rebellious and the wrong perceptions of themselves and the world around them. Another point that the commentators point out that what we as parents usually rob our children of is that we rob them of their freedom. What does that mean? We are sometimes as parents too over controlling, what we call helicopter parenting, where we decide what they say, we decide what they do, we decide what they wear, we decide who they speak to, we decide everything about our children. And children, when they have these controlling parents, they usually turn out to be, they don't take initiative, they're not creative, they don't take risks in life. More importantly, they live a life of fear because they're walking on eggshells. And everything they do, they're going to get a comment from their parents. Everything they do, they're going to hear it from their parents. So it's a life filled with fear. And it's important for us as parents to know that we have to be involved in our children's lives, obviously, to guide them. But at the same time, we cannot be controlling them. They don't have to be, they're not contradictory. We could be involved, and we should be involved, and we should teach, and we should guide, and we should inspire, and we should, instead of controlling them and taking the power away from them, we should empower them, right? Give them the power to decide, give them the power to feel good about themselves, give them the power to feel confidence, right? So a lot of times, controlling parenting comes from the fact that the parent is projecting his or her own issues on the child, meaning that one of the parents is suffering from anxiety, and anxiety is worry, excessive worry, to the extent that it gets in the way of daily activities. And part of that worry is when one of the parent has feelings of being out of control, having chaos inside, not being in control of the situations in his or her life. And when that person lives with that anxiety and lives with those feelings of being not in control, so anything that would allow him to have some control, he will grasp for. Right? If he could grasp and have control over his children, he'll grasp for it. Why? Because at least it will make him feel a little bit in control to that chaotic world inside. It will make him feel a little more serene and peaceful inside, right? He will grasp for it. If he needs to, and he gets the opportunity to control the spouse, he'll be able to control anything that the person with anxiety can get his hands on to feel a little bit in control. He will reach for it. Why? Because once he goes for it and he feels that at least some part of his life is in control, that will give him some peace and serenity inside and makes him feel better about himself. So a lot of times as parents, we are not controlling our children because it is good for them. To the contrary, it's sometimes very bad for them. We are overprotective and over controlling because we are soothing our own anxiety. We are making ourselves feel better. And it's really even detrimental for our children, right? So as parents, we have to be aware, right? That's what are our incentives, what are our motives when we deal with our children. As I said before, we make or break our children. And a lot of what our children become and how emotionally well rounded and emotionally well healthy they become, a lot of that has to do with how we as parents raise them. Shabbat shalom.